Hello everyone. I'm here to provide you an update on some of our district's goals related to the academic excellence domain. My name is Eric Conn. I'm the Director of Curricular Pathways for this district, and among my responsibilities is the coordination of our academic programs as they relate to college and career readiness. In particular, for the goals being discussed today, we're going to be looking at college credits earned as well as industry credentials earned. Before we get to that, I want to ground us in the characteristics of our portrait of a graduate. The post-secondary readiness indicators that we'll be talking about today are related to all of our characteristics of our graduates. However, the ones we want to pay particular attention to as it relates to this topic are academic achievers as well as personal architects. For this update, we are going to spend a little bit of time looking at our current data and some historical trends in our data. We'll be talking about our current actions as well as our planned actions going forward based on some of the things that we've learned over the past year. So the goals we're going to be focusing on today are numbers 5 and 6 that we have highlighted. First, the percentage of students who are earning dual credit or college credit by exam will be 73% or higher, with a reduction in our greatest disproportionality by at least 50% from a baseline established in 2024. And then at least 45% of our students will earn an industry credential upon graduation. Before we move on, I want to talk a little bit about the timeline here. When we talk about 2030, we need to consider the fact that it seems like a ways off, but the class of 2030 are our current 8th grade students. These are the students completing 8th grade this year, and they'll be entering high school next year. So as far as high school goes, these are our students that will be spending the next 4 years in high school during the time of the remainder of our strategic plan. As far as our strategic actions go, the highlighted one here, number 5, that we will establish and communicate expectations for student access to high-level coursework, both within our district and out of our district. Some of those actions, which we'll talk about more in depth a little bit later, but just to give you some preview, are things like updating our pathway documents to show how our advanced coursework fits into our pathways. Things like advising students of their options based on their post-secondary goals and how the coursework fits into those goals. And a logistical example of this is when students are having course requests or planning their schedules for next year, having study hall not be a default option for all students. Rather, have study halls be seen as an option for students who need that additional study hall time in their schedule, not that every student has a study hall in their schedule. So as we go through the presentation, we're going to break it into 2 sections. We're going to first look at the section related to industry credentials, followed by the section related to college credits. As far as industry recognized credentials go, before we get to the data, where I want to start is by talking about what these credentials are. These are certifications, credentials, licenses. These are things that are accepted by business and industry. When someone applies for a job, having them on hand before you take that job is either a benefit to your employment, or it could be a requirement of your employment, whether you have it or earn it while you're employed. So these set you up for that career aspect. These fall into 3 general categories: business and industry certifications, where a student can earn a certification through taking an exam or demonstrating a particular set of skills. There are work-based learning credentials, where students are participating in a program where they're combining on-the-job experience with some kind of related coursework. And the third area are college credentials, where students are earning a college certificate, a diploma, or a degree while they're in high school. In our district, we have 42 industry recognized credentials within our courses or our programs. In addition, some students will seek credentials outside of our coursework by doing them independently or going and attending at the college, which I'll talk about with college credits a little bit later on. As far as historically, the state of Wisconsin has something called the Technical Incentive Grant, and this is where districts are reimbursed based on the number of students who have earned a credential upon graduation. I'm more than proud to say that our district has led the state in our graduates earning credentials since 2023. So let's look at the data. This data goes back to the class of 2016, and we can see that in recent years we have about a third of our students who are earning an industry credential upon graduation. Now, some clarifications with what you're seeing in these graphs here, particularly that change between 2020 and 2021. Before 2021, we were only collecting data on the students who were earning credentials that were approved for the technical incentive grant that I mentioned. Beginning in 2021, we started collecting students with more students with multiple certifications, as well as certifications that don't qualify for the grant, but are still valuable. Examples being CPR certification, WIAA officiating certification, things that aren't connected to grant reimbursement, but are still important for students. In addition, I would also call your attention to the fact that beginning in 2024, we're starting to see a larger increase in certifications due to the growth of our participation in youth apprenticeship programming. So we do have that growth, especially over the past 5 years, leading to about a third of our students earning a credential upon graduation. Well, let's break that data down and look at how different groups of students are having the same opportunity. Now, during this point when I'm going through the data, feel free to pause and take a look at it more closely. Go back if you need to in the recording to look at the data as well. This slide breaks down the earning of credentials based on race and ethnicity. The far column, which may be covered by the video, is students who identify as white, and that is the group that has a higher percentage of students earning the college or earning the industry credentials. Next, we look at the data broken down by student economic status, and we can see that students who are not economically disadvantaged earn industry credentials at a higher rate. Here are the results for students with disabilities, and we can see that students without disabilities earn at a higher rate. And then finally, our multilingual learners. And the same pattern holds true where students who are not multilingual learners earn credentials at a higher rate. So that is our current data related to industry credentials. I'm going to combine at the very end of the presentation the action steps and our next steps because a lot of those steps overlap. And I want to talk about them together as college and career or all post-secondary academic readiness. So we're going to shift gears here and talk about the other category of our post-secondary preparation and our goals. And that is the percentage of students who are earning college credits. And again, before we look at the data, I want to first explain how our students have the opportunity to earn college credits in the district. First, students can earn credit by exam. These are our advanced placement, our international baccalaureate programs, where students take a course. At the end of the course, they take an exam, and they earn a score on that exam. And then individual colleges determine if that exam score that the students earn will be awarded credit at the college. For the purposes of our data collection, we use the exam scores that are accepted by our local college partners to calculate our data. The other option our students have is through dual enrollment, where students are enrolled at the same time in both high school and in college. One way is where a college-approved course is taught in our high schools by a high school teacher. And the other option is where students take a course on a college campus taught by college faculty. With these two options, we currently have 83 courses within our high schools where students can earn college credits, but additionally, we have students who do take college coursework at colleges beyond what we offer in our schools. Here is our earning of college credits. Again, going back to the class of 2016, we can see two distinct patterns in the data, a growth between 2016 and the class of 2020, followed by a slight dip, and this is during the COVID period, where some external factors were impacting students' earning of credit. But we then see a gradual increase beginning with the class of 2022, and the data over the past couple of years beginning to flatline a little bit. But overall, we have about 2/3 of our students who graduate with at least one college credit. Currently, our current school year data, about our overall high school students, grades 9 through 12, about 49% of all high school students are enrolled or have been enrolled in a class with the opportunity to earn college credit. And of those enrolled students, 45% of them have already earned college credit. And I do want to clarify, because we're in the middle of the end of the school year, this does not include the results of any semester 2, trimester 3 courses, or any of our AP or IB exams. As we did with industry certifications, let's break down the data based on our different student subgroups. When we look at the data broken down by race and ethnicity, we can see, similar to what we saw with industry certifications, that our students who identify as white as well as Asian are the groups that are earning college credit at higher percentages. Similarly, with economic status, our students who are not economically disadvantaged earn college credits at a higher percentage. We see, again, similarly, the data with the students with disabilities. As well as with our multilingual learners. So between both data sets, we see similar disproportionality. With college credits being called out in reducing that related to our district goals. So as we talk about this data, what are our current actions? What are our next steps? Some of our key learnings. First, we want to develop courses based on pathways that prepare students for their post-secondary goals. We see from the data that not all students are having access to opportunities. Some of it may be related to structure, where students are needing to make up credit that they may not have passed, so they don't have the opportunity to take additional courses. There are opportunity gaps related to students' ability to access courses, depending on the building we're talking about, as well as related to advising students on courses they should be requesting or would benefit them to take. Another thing we've learned from analyzing the data is that our certifications are uneven district-wide. So the opportunity to earn certifications varies depending on the school and or the department. The largest growth we've seen in recent years, which I referenced when we looked at the data, was in youth apprenticeship. So there's also a large opportunity for students earning certifications going forward. There have been some unexpected or new developments since we started looking at this data. First are having staff who have the credentials to meet the college instructor requirements. The timeline to implement new certifications for the technical incentive grant. Those new certifications have just been released this spring for next year. So what we'll be doing is taking next year to pilot some of those new certifications with ones that we have identified as valuable to be brought in for full implementation the following year in 27-28. And another unexpected circumstance is that DPI ended the co-op work-based learning programs, which has led us to shift to youth apprenticeship for the areas where we had offered co-op. Now these, without getting into the details too much, there were two similar programs, one operated by DPI, one operated by the Department of Workforce Development, that's YA. So this puts work-based learning primarily into the YA area. And then finally, some operational implications. We continue to need to ensure our facilities meet the curricular requirements of the programs we're offering, as well as having facilities to meet the enrollment requests for students who are interested in specific courses or programs. At the state level, the technical incentive grant, the way that it's funded, has been static with a pot of money that has a certain amount put into it. As more districts and more students statewide are earning certifications, the amount awarded to districts per student has declined. It can be awarded up to $1,000. In our most recent year, our award was right around $625 per student. Number three, there are enrollment limits in some of our college courses, specifically related to student safety. And then finally, colleges, when we talk about credentials, they require a master's degree for our core area course teachers to teach a college course. Now, in some cases, it can be any master's degree plus some additional qualifications, but it's a master's degree nonetheless. So moving forward, some of the work we already have in progress, as well as planned work beginning this summer and or next year. I mentioned before updating our course pathways to focus the needs of the courses in our pathways based on the needs for post-secondary goals and aligned to post-secondary programs. We want to update our information sheets to show course options aligned to different post-secondary pathways. So if you're planning on attending a college program in a STEM field, what types of courses may you need to take versus if you're planning on going into a registered apprenticeship in a particular area. I mentioned advising before. We're working on our advising based on students' post-secondary goals, as well as the pathways to pursue them. Some of this was discussed in a previous update related to our thriving student body. We're going to continue adding as well as documenting our certifications, providing greater opportunities for students in multiple areas. As a district, we are participating in the Insight to Post-Secondary Education. This is a network of similarly sized districts nationwide who are coming together to collaborate and learn around post-secondary readiness, topics such as advising, data dashboards, strategic planning, and actions, things that are directly tied to our district goals. Another piece in our conversations is directly linking our credits and our credentials to our other district goals. These are not standalone items. They're the culmination of a student's experience going through our district. So they are tied to the customized student success plan. They're tied to other academic excellence goals. They're tied to the goals related to multiple languages because that's tied to an industry credential. The work related to college credits and certifications are aligned with the instructional vision that we've been talking about across all grade levels. And then finally, our college credits and credentials are going to be included as a component in our school improvement plans for the high schools. So a lot of the work this year has been setting the stage for having more attention, more alignment, and more discussion around students' post-secondary preparedness as it relates to our academic programming. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to our future discussions.